So we're just gonna put Ron absent.
Okay.
So in this new agenda system, this is like a national system for like, and most states require that you record attendance before you start a meeting. So now we are going to record attendance.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, public comment.
I just have a quick public comment just for record. I'm in touch with Scott Johnson, who is heading up the funding for the transportation grant that they just brought us. And we are on the books to be part of that. And in the funding, they're in the very beginning stages of planning. And he said at very earliest, it would be fall for something to actually get put into place at the corner that is very dangerous where all the kids are crossing all the time. I let him know what corner we're talking about, that there is actually a crosswalk there, which I was like shocked living here. There is one, but it's on the wrong corner. It's the corner no one actually crosses on. But we're on the books, we're on the radar, and he'll be working closely with myself and Phaedrus and anyone else that wants to be involved to get something there to make it safer for our kids.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Move on to approve minutes from December 11th.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Anyone see anything?
At the top you have, Ron Ritter listed twice.
Oh, nice. He's so important. I listed him twice.
That's right. I'm gonna make sure the woman is here.
Okay. Thanks.
Well. All in favor to accept the minutes for December 11th.
Aye.
So he's on there twice and I'm not on there.
Is that how it ended up?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, isn't that funny? Okay, good job there, Phaedrus.
Opposed? Motion carries to December 11th. Move on to Dan's on his rep report. Give on the phone for you.
Hey Dan, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone with the board. Yep. All you.
All right. Hey, good evening, Glenn. I'm sorry I am not able to be there in person. I apologize. Traveling to drop my daughter back off in Florida for school and had several follow-up doctor's appointments that I felt I needed to kind of be present for. So I apologize. It's two meetings in a row. Not my intent. Hopefully I'll be able to get my schedule dialed in where it doesn't happen again. So hopefully this will work okay for you guys. Hope everybody's doing well and safe. So we'll try to make it quick. I know that this remote thing isn't ideal, so don't want to hurt everybody with just like the way this is not my lovely smiling face, so I apologize for it. Chloe's probably got up to the agenda. Couple of things on terms of one, continue to have really good success in the contracting side. Safety security has been a mainstay with Jackson Group. They continue to track as no incidents on site, which is outstanding. Within their company, they've had a few near misses and then a couple of incidents where they really had to start to bring those safety professionals back on the sites. Let folks know driving conditions, those kind of things, to make sure that they relay that to all their subcontractors. And currently in our schedule, we have a lot of overlapping subs that are working on our site now. We've got our shell folks that are working construction steel, and we also have mechanical electrical subs that are starting to roughly on the inside to try to gain some ground on our schedule. Currently the schedule is in good shape. We have a few things that Jackson has been working through in regards to our roofing contractor. They've kind of fallen a little bit behind, so in Jackson's contract, much like we have in ours with Jackson, we have the ability to, put them on notice, to let them know, hey, performance is less than what we would like. Here's a written notice that if you don't perform, we can come in and try to supplement to catch you back up. With the contractor, was very receptive in a, we were there the next day, not real receptive in the fact that they got called out on it. So we're working through that, and feel we're gonna gain that time right back, now that they understand that the process isn't slowing down the way that, with our weather that we've had, it seems like we've been really, continue to bring trades on that maybe we wouldn't be ready for. But so that really shows that Jackson is working towards the understanding that they need to turn this portion of the building, needs a new addition over as soon as possible in the summer of 25. So all that being said, I think that they're continuing to do a fabulous job in managing the subs, managing the expectations of the district for access to villages as school gets ready to start in the fall of 2025. So still in 001, I wanted to highlight a really cool thing that Jackson and his team did with the students of Arlee School District. They participated in not only having a rep come in from Jackson to do a reader book, and of course, as Ann says, the questions I think were fast and furious to our friend Zach that's shown in some pictures of Lonnie, if you want to flip to those few photos that I referenced. Zach was speaking in front of a very dialed in group of young people, and it had more questions than they could actually spend the time to answer. And they did a really good job in saying, hey, we'd love to sit here and answer all your questions, but just like construction, if we stop and wait for everything that comes along, you may not get your building ready. So I think it was a really neat event. I know the Jackson crew enjoyed it, but I think also the kids did as well. And Ronnie, if you want to roll up, one of the things I wanted to say that we should be very proud of your kiddos. They participated in a kind of a giving tree that Jackson puts on every year with all of their company and all of their construction sites. The group in Arlee felt they had the shoe in with the young people actually participated in creating something very and we were sadly beaten by a team that had a lot more adult time to be able to prepare. So unfortunately our tree took second, but it was a really good experience, not only with the Jackson boys, but all the kids that participated. So I just wanted to highlight that's the partner you got really going out of the way that integrate with the students and the community as a whole. So that's just a nice heartwarming thing after the holiday season. So another highlight. Any questions on that event? Or kind of speeding through it?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, great. Thing that I'll highlight here, and then we'll talk a little bit more about towards the end. We've got preparing all of the furniture and was able to get some feedback from teachers and staff that are going to be occupying these spaces. So I'm currently working on the RFP portion. So hopefully we can advertise for a furniture package. And what I'd like to do is have the folks that are part of the facilities committee to see if there's a time sometime this next week where we can get together, review it, approve the style of furniture that is being proposed. Each manufacturer, as we get ready to submission packages, they're going to have similar things, but they aren't all going to be exactly like what the staff had looked at or being referenced to. we wanted to see if there might be a time that the board and the facilities group could find a day next week where in an evening we can get together, go through that so that we can actually get it out on the street. At that same time, we will review the playground equipment package, and then that lays into some future budgeting efforts that Jackson's working on with our landscaping. So there's some things that we start to get to that point where we, as the district and facilities committee, are able to kind of push through and make some decisions and get us ready for the summer season when furniture's being delivered, finishes coming in, and this becomes a good usable space. So that'll be something we can just kind of talk about, see if there's a day that makes sense going forward. So, and back on the agenda, this quick update, pay application number 9 was received, reviewed, and approved right away. That allowed us to, it was something that Lonnie and I will work on, that certain funds that she had to be kind of expended or get those budgets out by 10. I think that we can be a little more conservative with our time on how fast we have to review those, just to make sure that we're not that we're missing anything. It's just, it won't be mindful. It puts a lot of effort on Lonnie to be ready to receive it and understand and get it sent out right away. So those are some, certainly, I had a typo. I apologize on the contract as amendment number 1. That I we put in the new contract amount, but our current original contract is $13,254,910.94. We've had a total change to project that is about $83,343.76. And so our new contract amount is that $13,338,255.70. So that hasn't changed since our December board meeting. And so that's kind of why there's not, see the once again here, that there's a contingency log. There's nothing really there that we kind of look at yet, because we're waiting on a couple things from the design team on the parking and bus drop off. And then we'll have additional items related to playground and the fencing. Those are items that we have within our allowances within our budget. So Lonnie, maybe you could pull up that it's the pay application document that shows what we paid Jackson. That's the AIA form. If you look down on between pages 2 and, or I guess 3 and 4, there's those green highlighted areas. Those are allowances that we have that they were able to put budgets to them. And now, give you an example. So the first one is line item number 44, clear allowances. We're starting to finally tap into that with our weather, where they're using Visqueen. They're having snow removal. They're having things that are directly related to the winter weather. We're starting to see them kind of chip away at some of those dollars. And, in conversations with Jackson, we feel they're more than comfortable with more than covered with dollars that allocated. You'll see at 42, that was for mock-ups. We had some concerns or discussions about some detailing around the windows and how different metal sidings interacted. So as a group, we asked Jackson to mock up for the architects to review what was designed, how it was proposed, and then actually some agreements were made on how the panels would interact. And I think it was well worth the time and effort spent using those dollars, so that really, at the end of the day, they got the detailing that the architects had intended, and it was something that was constructible by the construction team. So that's the dollar amount that I feel totally confident in as we look towards the lower end of that, line item 54 to 55, those are some things that are, those are still out in the ether in regards to design side with, how's our button going to work, and then how is the district wanting to deliver, guests and visitors to the district to the sporting events from our K6 building, how's it going to interact with the playground? So fencing is a one that we're starting to define. And then landscaping, develop a plan that will allow Jackson to go out, get some pricing to see if the district would like to take on some of that role because of relationships and potential donations where we could take that dollar amount that's there and deduct it from the contract and the owner can manage. Let's say we have the solid company, we have to donate time or give us a discount that they did with Jackson. We could take on some of that ownership of that dollar amount. So they're currently working on some budgeting for landscaping. That'll then tie in with the fencing and how that bus route works. So lots of moving parts, but nothing really to report back to the store. So I didn't feel like we needed to dig into things that we don't have mind. But I wanted to lay out what we might be able to start seeing here in the next couple of months that we're now people are this about. So 003 is right now all our scopes are said we've got these potential things, but nothing really changed. Once we start to see the drawings, if there's a big shift or a change, that would be something we come back to the facility to present and then go forward. But right now, there's no shifts in any design or intent that was originally developed with the committee. So at this point, there's nothing in that section we need to worry about. They will send out the photographs, meeting minutes from our last meeting last Thursday. They can be posted to the district website. And then the last thing was just a kind of open discussion about getting that facilities committee back together sometime this month so that we can get our RFPs for playground equipment and then furniture out on the street and start to get some of that information back. So that in February we can get something approved to start working with the district on needs and affecting what we have and maybe there is we can reuse, but that's getting that partner involved now. Will help us get ready for delivery and installation this summer. One of the things that's one of the and then also on the currently the looks right now the playground equipment that was light and then we kind of went out to get part of the design based on it. It appears that that's going to fall in a range that is below a typical going out and getting 3 bids requirement. And that's something that I'll ask when we see each other at that facilities committee is that do we like it enough to where we can, with the authority of the board, approve to purchase it from one individual or one company, or is there that desire to go out and get multiple? I was surprised at our pricing, and I think it's something that we can visit about. We're looking at lead times, making sure that it can be delivered. Those are some more things that we'll have greater detail when we speak with another this next week. So, any questions? I'm going to kind of rapid fire it, but I won't. So, I just want to make sure that got to you. If you guys have anything, any questions or concerns, or if you heard anything that's out in the community that we need to address, and how best to do that.
Has anyone heard anything, any concerns, anything?
Just the softball field.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that one. restrictions. So on your, OAC meeting minutes.
Yeah.
So the ones that we should be looking at should be the current from last week, correct? Because I'm looking at it, says the date on this is May 9th of 2024.
Yeah, no, we should not, that's dated, so, yeah, I've got, it should be January 9, 2025.
Okay, so if you can get that sent to Lonnie and then she can get it out to us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I will send it right now. Yeah, I just put the grab the wrong link, so I apologize.
Okay.
And can we take another tour?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that the Jackson group would love to have you guys come out on site. Is there, would that be something that, like, you maybe as a facilities committee? Like prior to started to where we got a little daylight left? Do that and then come in and kind of walk through, because it might be a good thing, and of course, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we should do an ad box looking at how that lower K-2 playground might work. It was nice to walk out and be able to see what pinch points there are and how to interact with the front of the building and those covered, covered patio areas. I think it would be a good thing as we talk about landscaping and some of these other, budget items that are start coming up. I think it might be a nice thing for the facility to walk it, maybe prior to our meeting.
Yeah, we can work on that, okay?
Yeah, I think it would be a good benefit for all of you, because it really does change when you're out there. And so in the picture that I sent from Arlee, it kind of shows you how fast that vertical construction happens. And even through that, you identify things that, hey, structural columns for our main canopy that goes out over entryway. There was a dimension that was a little bit messed up between structural steel drawings and the manufactured shop drawings, where we had a support that wasn't dead center like it should be. Steel company was able to go, hey, wait a minute, that's something that was a miss on our part. We gotta consider more steel, and Claudio, it's actually the very top. On it, it's the one they did. You can kind of zoom in on that, but that eyebrow sticks out. You'll see that on a column come up, and it's touching the back tab of that cross member. So that's right. So WMK realized that, hey, we had something wrong, but without hesitation, they've got a new member coming out, making sure that's fully bearing on that top plate. But until you get out there, you start putting this big erector set up, you start to see that, hey, there's a lot of coordination items that happen. As you scroll down, you can see that thing being lifted into place over that, or clear story area. There's a lot of little pieces that go together to get that thing set right properly. So I think, yeah, have a nice tour. You can start seeing the little details that become, you may forget about them as you look at the drawings. Then you start to see, as you go a little bit further down in those drawings, we've got our concrete seats that are outside of the library that it's going out towards the bus move. Just the detail of the more important concrete. Just starts to really pull together that vision that you guys had about bringing nature into the building. It's all steel and plywood and particle board. You don't realize it, but that's a finished material now. Really cool, that's on page 6 of 11. Well, if that helps you. Let's just kind of show you what the board form is basically. We're at the concrete here against a truly rough sawn chunk of lumber. It's not done very often anymore because of the cost of it, but it gives a very, very cool, unique finish to the project. That's how they used to pour all concrete. Before we had the plywood, particle board, all these different materials. Now that it's used to for foundations. But so really cool design element. Again, we'll continue to work through this project as we move forward and start seeing finishes start showing up.
So do you have a date on that meeting?
No, that's just something I would ask, you know, with this group, I think last time, I know you guys have, tournaments Tuesday, Thursdays, or no, Wednesday.
We'll let Ann get that figured out. She's the one that's coordinate that, so
Yeah.
we'll let Ann work on that.
Yeah, and so once we know, then I think we would invite that all the board and everything to be able to do a walkthrough on that night that we have the facilities committee. Just then that way you can see it all at once and hold in it and ask questions and then we're all kind of responding and being able to, that way the Jackson folks can stay and participate as well.
Thanks, Dan.
You bet, absolutely. I can't apologize that I'm not there with you. Make sure the schedule lines up a little bit better where I'm not traveling with hard.
Yeah, our meetings are the second Tuesday of the month, every month.
Yeah, no, I don't know why, because I had a meeting on Wednesday in Superior last week. So I'm like, well, geez, why didn't move it? But didn't realize, oh, wait, no, the first one on Wednesday. That's not a Tuesday. So that was my bad on, I realized, mistake. So I will do better.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thanks, Dan.
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the wealth management update. First, Brian?
Yeah, yep, I'm gonna give them a text and let them know we're about to get started. We do a sound check.
I'm on and we're good.
So it's
I'm here.
coming through my computer. Can you guys hear that?
Sounds fine from my end.
Just
Right.
make sure they speak loudly because it seems to be coming
Yeah.
through my computer.
You're probably gonna have to speak loud because it's coming off another laptop in the room. Good. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Goodfried. I represent First Interstate Bank, specifically Wealth Management Company. I cover the greater Flathead and Missoula markets, so basically Northwest Montana. On screen is Susan Hurto and Paul McKean. They're part of my team. I'll let them introduce themselves here in a second. We're glad to be here. We're glad to do business with you guys. I'm more specific to the wealth management company, but if you are having issues in the comprehensive banking and investing relationships, I can help move barriers out of the way or get you in touch with the right people. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Paul, do you want to get started?
Sure, Paul McKean, I'm portfolio manager on your accounts. I'm part of our asset management team. I'm based out of Billings, Montana, but I'm one of two senior portfolio managers that lead the team, but it is very much a team-based approach. And turn it over to Susan.
And I'm Susan Hurto. Thank you for having me back. I joined you guys last year for one of your meetings. I'm the trust specialist related to the account. I handle all the administrative transactional tasks that are relative to making sure that your money's getting moved to the right spot.
And on that note, I didn't really explain my role, but basically I help work with Paul on appropriate strategy, determining what appropriate risk levels are in this type of scenario would be in this, a state and school government account risk is kind of a different terminology than some of the areas that we work in with risk, really want to understand what your cash flow needs are now and in the future. My understanding, because I previously was with the Flathead and then joined the Missoula and Flathead market, is that in the larger bond account, as securities were coming mature, the direction is given us to sort of leave everything in cash. The really good news is that cash in our world is money market, and that's an institutional money market that has just done awesome as far as the standpoint of a low to no risk solution that pays interest at the end of each month. Paul is going to elaborate a little bit more on that. But I think that, depending on, as you guys have timelines for the construction projects and future projects, if you guys want to have some collaboration, we have a lot of school districts in this kind of same space, and, churches and nonprofits and you name it, everything, right? Institutional wealth management. But usually what the scenario is, they're not going to spend all of the money at once. And so that's where Paul and I can come and say, hey, you can get a little bit more return per dollar if you maybe segment your account based on time horizons of when you might need this. So if that's ever a conversation that you guys want to have, we are absolutely open to it. Kind of dumb luck, but money market has been a really phenomenal place to be since really Q3 of 2021 as we started seeing interest rates come up. And I will let Paul elaborate a little bit on that and talk a little bit about the portfolio review package.
Great, thanks, Brian. And I want to be respectful of your time. How much time have you allocated for our presentation?
15.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna have to speak loud though.
Okay, I'll speak. Hopefully you can hear me.
Louder.
The portfolio review presentation contains a lot of information about the market, economy, how things have been going. But I think really the key points in terms of what's impacting your portfolios is the interest rate environment. And so I think that really critical piece of information is the upper left-hand corner of page 4 of the presentation, where it looks at the yield curves for U.S. Treasuries. And the blue line is showing where yields were at the end of September versus the green line that's showing where interest rates were at the end of December. So you can see what's happened with interest rates over the last few months is that short-term rates have been coming down. The Federal Reserve has been cutting interest rates. They cut rates by 0.5% in September, 0.25% in November, and another 0.25% in December. So that short-term rate has been coming down, and that does impact the return on the money market fund. The money market fund yield ties very closely to that, what's called Fed funds rate. Meanwhile, the longer end of the curve has moved up significantly. And so in the managed agency where we are still managing the bond portfolio versus just holding money market funds, yields are much higher on those 2, 3, 5-year bonds that we're allowed to invest in. Your portfolio is governed by the state statutes, as I'm sure you're well aware. So we're not allowed to invest in anything with a maturity of greater than 5 years. So it's 5 years or less. And we're allowed to invest in treasuries and agencies and some CDs, but it's all basically very much tied to government rates. So that's a big shift in the interest rate environment. And on looking forward in terms of what we think is going to happen, the original expectation a few months ago was the Fed would be cutting rates very quickly, and that we would see short-term rates here in the U.S. get down to maybe 3% from where they were in beginning of September. They were at 5.3%. So they were expecting a drop of over 2% in short-term rates in less than a year. Inflation has been a little bit higher than expected over the last few months. We've got a new administration coming in with some policies that could be add additional fire to that inflation. And the economy is doing really well, which also can add to inflation. So The expectation now is the Fed is going to move much more slowly with any rate cuts in 2025. Investors are betting right now we might see 2 rate cuts of a quarter point each in the entire year of 2025. So as Brian mentioned, money market yields have been in our favor. That looks like it's going to continue. So that's good news that those short-term money market yields are going to remain relatively high based on current outlook and expectations. So on that, I'll jump to the 2 portfolios. Page 8 of the presentation is looking at the managed agency. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we currently have about $31,000 in cash. So that is in the money market fund. That money market fund is now yielding about 4.3%. And that makes up just about 6% of the account. And then fixed income investments make up the other 94%, $511,000. Those fixed income investments are all in U.S. Treasuries and agencies. The individual holdings are detailed on page 9. You can see that we're well within the limits that are allowed for Montana statutes. In fact, the longest bond in this portfolio is only about a year. And you can see how the account is done on page 10. So if we look at the top page 10, you can see a year ago, this account was valued at $519,000. You've made no additions or withdrawals. Fees that we've charged is $1,600 during the course of the year. Income that's been received is $11,800. And market appreciation, so actually the increase in value of the underlying holdings, $13,000. So that leads to that ending value of $543,000. This account's made roughly $25,000 over the last year. So very good year.
Can I jump real quick, Paul, and just explain to them what
Sure.
they're seeing? These are your impact-aided vested funds that we invested a few years ago. When we had them 250,000 in the elementary and 250 in the high school. So that's what he's talking about right now. Okay, go ahead.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
The performance for that account is detailed on page 11. So we can see that top line account net of fees, these are the returns after all fees and expenses. So it shows for the last 3 months up 0.78. That's not an annualized number, it's an absolute return. So the 1-year return, 4.61%. And then going back to February 1st of 2023, this account has earned an annualized return of 4.43% per year. So very solid return based on a very conservative investment objective. And then the bond account is shown on page 13. So you can see in the upper left-hand corner there, current value $9,277,000. 100% of that is what we call cash, but is invested in the money market fund. You can see that on page 14 that 100% of the holdings are in the Goldman Sachs Financial Square Treasury Index Fund. And you can see on page 15 the history of the account. So a year ago, this account was valued at $9,920,000. You've had net withdrawals over the last year of $1,094,000, fees of $29,000, income earned of $387,000, and market appreciation of $94,000, leaving that ending value of $9,277,000. And you can see the returns are on page 16, the last page of the presentation. Account net of fee, again, that means after all fees and expenses. The 1 year up 4.82%, and since March 1st of 2023, an annualized return of 4.85% per year. So again, everything's going well. Nothing really to report other than that, unless you all have questions.
My only question is, can you scroll up to when it shows like the 1-3, and either one of them, it doesn't matter, it happens on both of them. Where it's like the 1-3-6 time frame, go down one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, right
Right
there.
there. Yeah.
So why are these numbers exactly the same all the way across instead of them being like what they would be at the bottom of each
So
one of those
the,
time periods?
Which page are you looking at?
Page 15,
Page 15.
as an example.
So I understand like either this one or this one being the end portfolio value, But this number being the same all the way across doesn't make sense in my mind, so I'm just curious why that number is.
Yeah, so for what this is showing is what happened during different periods of time. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year. All of those periods end on December 31st. So the ending value for each of those is identical. It's the value of the account on December 31st. What changes is the beginning value and the activity during the period. So for instance, the 1 month column shows a beginning value of 9,245,000 versus the 3 month shows the beginning value of 9,179,000. So are you following me now?
Yeah.
So 1 month would be December,
So
3
basically,
months.
the bottom number is just the end of the year amount all the way across,
Yes.
and then all the numbers above it are just showing what was at each one of those. That's what was really
Exactly,
confusing
yeah.
me, because I was like running the numbers, adding them, subtracting, and I was like, this is
You're
not
the
making
first
sense
person-
in my brain.
Yeah, you're not the first person to ask that question.
Okay.
Very legitimate
That
question.
really confused
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, so it's the ending value is the same. It's just what happened in each of those most recent periods.
Okay. That makes much more sense.
So you said the money markets are doing good, like what is your return on those? Is that the 4.5 or whatever?
So at the end of the year, the gross money market return on institutional money market they used was around 4.5, and it's on that report. You know, since the beginning of the year, we've seen interest rates come down again. And I think that's probably gross right now, 4.29, 4.3, Paul.
Yeah, so the money market yield has varied over the course of the last year. At the beginning of the year, the money market was yielding about 5.25, maybe 5.3%. By the end of the year, that yield had dropped to about 4.3%. But because of the Fed rate cuts that occurred over the last 5 months, 4 months. And so what this is showing, like the 4.5% return that Brian mentioned, that's the average return over the prior year. You can see in the returns, whether you're either account you're looking at, there's a line that shows the return for cash and cash equivalents. That shows you exactly what the money market has yielded over different periods of time.
But it's close to the T bond.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the money market is going to track what's called Fed funds rate, which is the very short-term treasury rate. Basically the 1 month, it's actually, overnight, but it's roughly equivalent to about buying like a 1 month treasury. If you go out to a year or longer, their rates on those could be very similar or very different depending on the interest rate environment.
Okay. All right. Hey, thank you. We appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good night. Night, Susan.
Bye.
Kind of worked. It almost worked well. It worked well.
speaker.
Do. Well, thanks for coming out, Brian. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna dismiss myself early, but as y'all guys have like further discussions, like there's always room for, looking at this and saying, should we have a little bit more strategy in these type of accounts? I mean, they're gonna only buy the safest securities on the planet. And, if we do see rates going down, there's strategies to kind of mitigate that. Because what the money market does is it follows rates. So when rates are going up, the money market's going up. Now that we've seen rates coming down, the money market's slowly coming down. But where that gross was 4.3, you can't buy a CD today that I bought CDs today in the investment brokerage world, and the highest I saw was 4.15 and maybe a 4.2 across the US. And that's just because it just follows it like a dog in a leash.
More long term and like it's
more short term, because the money markets go buy government treasuries and some government agencies and maybe CDs, but really more government bonds. And so the money market's performance is a reflection of whatever the shorter term government bonds tends to be. which would be very similar to the Montana statute governing, these type of accounts as well.
But over time, it evens itself out more.
It depends on what rates do, like if, we have this, we kind of think that rates right now, the market suggesting rates are gonna stay pretty stable. And so if that's the case, we could see rates stay around 4 for a while, because I think if rates come down a little bit more, we're gonna see inflation spike. For an account like this, that's really good news because, if we looked at 2008 through the end of 2021, on safe money, you were literally earning nothing, right?
Yeah.
But now, the four is pretty attractive yield last year. 5 was a very attractive yield.
What's the best scenario for fixed income? And low rates?
I'd say so. I'd definitely say so. Absolutely. Other than, the only other scenario is if you guys were like, hey, we got this 10 million bucks, we're not gonna spend, 3 to 4 million of it for at least a year. They could go in there and buy a government bill or bond and lock in a rate that maybe so say they go in and buy something at 4.3 right now, like on a, I don't know, maybe call it 4.2, 4.3 on a 1 year. And we do see some rate decreases next year. We'll say that 3 million is, you're gonna mitigate that downward market risk on a portion of those dollars. For the highly liquid dollars, that money market, absolutely, I mean, it's up to $1 million same day delivery. So like if you guys called us tomorrow and like, guys, we forgot we owed our architect $1 million, that money would be in your account now. Highly liquid, highly safe. So, nice meeting everyone.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Meeting.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
We'll move on to the consent agenda.
No, I think we can still do them all together. Correct?
Yeah, just one vote.
I will move to approve the consent agenda on this one.
Any questions?
The opposite. Yeah.
The one student attendance agreement Brian has. It's a placement.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to new business. Thank you. Thank you.
Motion to approve the trustee resolution calling for an election. Okay.
Any questions, comments?
As you can see on there, we've added a technology levy to be
Yeah.
part of our, okay, so just wanted to make sure you knew you were doing that. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item B. Montana High School Association Board proposal.
Good, if I give you a rundown.
So I'll put the motion.
Yeah.
I'll motion to approve the Montana High School Association proposals voting recommendation.
Okay.
Best way to do that?
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so the first one to have on there is to amend students below 9th grade by law. So that's the number one that's on there. Basically what's happening in certain parts of the state, not impacting us. ADs are swapping schedules because it's written in there that you can't play junior high basketball as an 8th grader, but also high school basketball being brought up if those seasons are overlapping. So they're rewriting their schedules to make it to where there'll be volleyball and basketball happening. So 8th graders can play volleyball, but also high school basketball. They're just shoring that up and saying, hey, we're allowing them to play both sports. What does it matter if they're concurrently? So they're changing it to allow them to play in both. So that's what's happening, number one. Doesn't have a direct impact on us at the moment. And speaking with the AD, he was for that one. Second one, down transfer rule by law. They're adding language to what was currently written in there. The added language is adding in the 50-mile radius for transfer law. Basically, as you described it, and the other ATs in the local area described it, it will eliminate the 93 shuffle for basketball. So it made it to where there has to be hardship language in there. And then number 3, amend the award law. That one's going from $100 to $500, not monetary. So basically the easiest way to describe that, if you are the golf championship and they want to buy you a golf club, good luck doing it for $100. They upped it to $500, so you can receive that as a gift for that one as well. And then number 4, name, image, and likeness money. They're doing that. It's surrounding states and everywhere around us are trying to find language to basically adhere to the same kind of rules and regulations that colleges and universities are. So it's adding something in for Montana High School Sports Association for that one. Number 5 is language specific to penalties so that it's consistent across the state. So if there's an ejection that's happening, everybody knows this is what the rule states, this is what we're going to follow. So it just makes that to where it's crisp for that one. And the last one, there was a proposal to amend physicals. So they changed it to where instead of it being a 1 year, specifically in small communities, they rolled it to a 2 year, and there's a timeline based on that. I don't remember the exact date. It's in the back page, so I can look that up. But basically, it makes it to where we're not getting flooded in our small town communities every August for everybody trying to get their last minute physicals before fall. So if you have your physical at this age, doctors are recommending and stating like, hey, we're in support of this. Let's not flood our local communities. Let's make it to where it'll roll over. And the timeline on that one, though, there's a stipulation there for physical examinations conducted May 1st and thereafter are valid for the following 2 school years. So if you were to get it before May 1st every year, you would always have to get it again. It would only last that 1 calendar year.
Will we be able to recommend for our students still be getting one? Like not a requirement, but can we say, even though it's not first day of practice, but we still recommend for you to get a physical yearly, just in case anything's changed? Or
Great question. Follow up with that later.
just because, I mean, we have growing, changing
My
teams.
assumption would be yes, because we get to be able to establish what those handbooks look like. So though it's written there, my assumption would be we could have stricter guidelines.
Yeah, not saying that
Yeah,
it's
I would-
required, just saying recommended. Even if it's not by the first day of practice, we still recommend that you see a physician for an updated, would be my only concern. Because I know there is verbiage in there on a history questionnaire, but that can be circled very quickly. And so just for the health and safety of our students, I would love to see something that says we recommend you to get one still.
I'd want to know what our liability is, or like, through that screening process, what is the percentage that they catch something that needs to be caught? Or what is the repercussions if you don't have a physical, you're not required to have a physical, and something happens that we should have caught, or
Yep, great questions. I can pose it back to them because I know the meeting's not till the 20th, so that'll be the time to get those back to you.
Anyone else, anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to declare emergency closure for November 25th, 26th.
I would move to declare an emergency closure for the Arlee School District for November 25th and 26th.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to item D, superintendent evaluation and contract negotiations, and as board chair make the determination that the right to privacy is the merit of public disclosure. As such, the board will be going into executive session for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Don't know, so it's.
My job.
I have the sprinkler like in a restaurant.
And this is my job. I'll be-
And I will motion to extend, Mr. Beckham's contract for one additional year. And we will be delaying salary negotiations until, the June meeting.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Any questions, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to board report.
On the top.
You are.
I don't know if you know that this month is School Board Appreciation Month. So our first grade class made you all thank you cards.
Oh.
I hope you find time to read it because they're quite comical.
That's awesome. And I saw Santa came in the helicopter.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, December was just a great,
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say it sounds
It's a
like
great
it
day.
was So
Yeah.
fun.
yeah. And, even the kindergarten concert without the Wi-Fi, without the power, without the so many things, was still just a ton of fun.
Move on to the junior high school report.
Junior high school report, enrollment, same, junior high. High school down one, we're at 131. January, is always starting up after the holidays, which is rough. In a lot of school districts, time is always very tough, where students may have not had the same experience as others. Where broken promises, other issues there, but it's important that all of us, educators, mentors, we continue to stay positive, be the best part of their day. But I think is, we are the reason why they come here. Positive affirmations. Cell phones, still same thing, every school, it's a battle. Now, it's gonna be a battle of making sure we we think probably in the future mandate something that, hey, this is what happens if you choose not to get a cell phone. We're keeping it, where some schools either locking it or, like in my daughter's school, is they take it, your parents have to get it. And I've told my kid, guess what, you're waiting till Friday. Because I'm pretty sure Mr. Corbett will not let me make it up. But student of the month, this is one thing, we are now seeing more positivity. Currently, students of the month have been success, where we believe students are now where they're seeing that positive affirmation when they receive that award or that recognition. And then we place it, I've put it on our Facebook page. That way it's also where the kid also, people tell them, hey, awesome job. One of the best parts is seeing students' behaviors have changed. I think that's one of the key pieces, seeing their behaviors change from all of us giving them positive affirmation. Instead of focusing on the negativity, let's try to give a big percentage on positivity. I'm a big firm believer in that I believe the majority of our students' love language is the positive affirmation. Telling them good job, you're doing a great job. I have the list of students of the month. And today we awarded 2 students an award for the Character of Excellence Award. This was one where I challenged my staff, high school staff, where nominate only 1 male, 1 female out of the whole class that best represents character, best represents resiliency when they are given a hard task, best represents being the best part of somebody's day. The first question I asked all the students at the beginning of the year is, how do you want to be remembered? And it's how you treat somebody. And so we awarded 2 students that today, recognized them, told them why. One of the great parts is when you tell the parents something, they get emotional about it. The other thing is I've had is my staff is they have to make positive phone calls home. I think it's important, you know, I'm a dad, a lot of us are parents, and we would like to hear that, you know, instead of, let's stay away from the stigma of only calling for negativity. Let's, you know, you see a kid do something, let's let them know, because sometimes we want to know, how are our kids doing at school? Final thing I have on here, it's it's gonna take a while, but new administration, you know, you have the AD and I, we have ideas of wanting to revamp a weight room. One day we'll try to look at how to get funds, how to fundraise, all that stuff. You know, where I believe trying to also, which will help out with our programs. You know, it's not only, you know, and it's shown that, you know, working out helps out mentally, you know. You know, and also try to get it into the old gym. You know, I think it'd be a lot more useful, where it's bigger, more expanded.
Is there not there's not a weight room in here?
No, our weight room's bigger. Okay, but I like to get it bigger.
Teachers lounge,
It was a teacher's
Or-
lounge before.
where did the old weight room end?
The old weight room was downstairs, back where, but the weight room we have now is right over here.
So it used to be right on the stage area before the
Yeah.
gym, it was that room.
That was our weight room.
Yeah. So the goal is we want to get like, you know, get a little bigger, try to have classes, more kids in there, you could have like a girls.
Once you're jamming them in with PE, you just want to have it complete just two.
Yeah, so there's ideas, you know, but there's ideas, there's dreams, you know. But there's ideas and stuff, but that's, so far I know we got semester exams going. Monday was our prep day, kids have been pretty focused. We're trying to teach them is, you know, look at quality, take your time. Because we give you extra time to work, you know. So, yeah, right now we're in the first half, you know, we still got, you know, the second half and then the dog days of end of May and June.
So on the, finals. That's, the Monday is prep day for the.
Monday's
teachers?
prep day, so that way, let's say, for example, Miss White gets them ready. Hey, this is what the expectations are, let's review,
Okay,
let's
okay.
refresh. You know, and that way.
Is that
kids are ready.
new, or is that the same as like last year, is that what we
Yeah,
last year?
for the most part.
So I just questioned because of that go day,
Mhm.
you know, because you have some of them coming in. What was it, in the
For the seventh grade.
seventh grade beginning of the day,
Mhm.
so there's no way to fix that, like.
To have them all on
All on
Tuesday,
those-
Wednesday.
Yeah.
We talked, actually, Miss White talked about it for possibly, let's look at the next semester,
Okay.
try to
Yeah.
get, you know, 3, 4, try
Yeah.
to make it that way.
Because I mean, they strive for those go days, and
Yeah.
if they can get them, I think it would be better for them to.
Not have to get up early in the
Yeah.
morning and get here for their
Yeah.
first period and then have
And go.
part of the.
One
day.
suggestion I had, which isn't ideal for that first period because your prep day and getting them ready would be the same day, but doing like an assembly schedule for that Monday, which I believe would leave enough time for one full finals period at the end of the day. So moving first period there to Monday, and then it would still only be 3 and 3 because I love the not having 4 finals on one day, especially if you've got a kid with AP and tough classes, that's a lot to take on in one day. So I totally get the one odd period on a different day, but possibly doing it Monday, that way they'd still have contact with all their teachers. But you could fit in one on there, then you could have a full go day on Thursday.
But I like the idea that you guys are working on it, so that's it, that's.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So,
Miss White and I have talked about it just now about.
Yeah.
Let's go, hey, let's look at this,
Okay,
you know, try to, and then, yes, that way they get that reward of go day. But we're also trying to, is during that time of, you know, that 2:30 to 4 is, we're trying to be more proactive, is meet with your teachers, get that extra time. Talk to them about incompletes or other missing assignments. So we're trying, yeah, we're looking at ideas.
okay, go ahead.
So I can speak to ownership as I built that schedule. And it was built in coordination with the elementary, so. We have shared staff that was built so that on the second semester final, 7th period final being there, for students specifically, not seniors, because seniors are the only ones with the skip period. to have to be here the final day of school for checkout. If we move it to a position where we don't have that, you won't have your students show back up to check out. Creating 2 semester finals, one for semester 1 and one for semester 2, and also impacting the elementary because we're a shared district becomes really difficult. Though it's possible, first period, I like the idea of being able to change Monday, but that's where that came from, is least impactful on students district-wide. That's why that schedule was built.
Could you do that schedule for the middle of the year finals and then do this schedule for the last one?
Pick me. Going back on him as somebody who's taught in this district for 20-some years and now is administrated for 8-ish, it is extremely frustrating when the high school, and we understand it, we get it, but so much of our elementary is driven by the high school schedule that when you have kids that are specifically dealing with issues where routine, structure, and sameness is important, they know on Thursday I do this, they know on Wednesday I do this. So when they change something, it changes those kids as specialists, which changes our teachers' prep time. So previous lives, there were times if the high school went to a schedule, and kudos for Mr. Beckham, honestly, because he's the first high school principal that's honestly worked with me on this. There were times as a teacher and also as an administrator, due to those schedule changes in the high school, if it's an assembly, if it's an early leave, if it's tests, teachers lose preps, kids get out of schedule, sped minutes, which are federally funded, federally obligated, become an issue. Because you have to pull paras to cover classes for high school, so your teachers can have preps, your kids can stay on schedule. That's the issue. And we have to remember that it might work for high school, but it doesn't work for 206 of our kids right now. And that continues to be something that we talk about a lot. So, and keeping in mind, the elementary schedule doesn't have go days. Okay. Our teachers are sitting with, I have one right now with 25 kids, right? 4 of them with special needs. Change their schedule, we got problems. Those are the things to keep in mind. It's just, yeah, on paper, it looks great, but it affects a ton.
No, thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, the high school is probably more adaptive as far as the age group. The youngsters need that set schedule.
And the youngsters come. You know, they're at school. I mean, look at the attendance percentages.
Yeah.
80s, 90s, 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 right? That's within a month that we had some serious things that went on within our town, right? Where we've had, you know, times where the older kids were missing because they had to attend, you know, funerals, things like that. That doesn't happen at the elementary. And I'm not saying it should or shouldn't, but I'm saying that's the reality. You know, again, we still have 206 kids. You know, K6, we're not even talking K8, which is what affects the elementary budget. People forget that K8 is the whole elementary budget.
The one last thing about the weight room is, some of the kids would express to me over the years that they didn't feel good about that weight room over there. And they would go down to the center. And that was hard for me to hear because I know why they didn't feel invited or welcome over there. So they chose to go to the center for the weight room. And that causes a lot of hurt feelings between kids. And I'm not sure what the cause was exactly, but I have ideas, but exactly what you're saying, hit them with welcomeness and positivity, and let's leave the other stuff behind. So there's more than enough room for a weight room and however we can do to help that.
We're gonna jump all over. So yeah, back to the go day. Sorry, we're back and forth all over the place today. I love hearing that feedback because again, without hearing it, wouldn't know how affecting that is. And I never would have thought about it from that angle. And so if that's what's for best for our district, by all means, you guys work in the depths of this. And if students have to come for one period that day to keep everything on schedule and running smoothly for a large majority of our students, by all means, if that's what's best.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's not just your suggestion, it's just something that we continually tackle.
Yeah.
As a district.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Anything else? Move on to the superintendent report.
Two hundred and 56 responses made me ecstatic. You know how many surveys we send out statewide and things like that? Like, I love how hard we work to try to get people to respond to that. And for a survey, I know that I'm sure we would love to see double that, but that's pretty good response. And having a large portion of it being students is kind of fun to see that they are really participating. I would love to see the community member percentage be larger, but I don't know.
How do we get that out to the community?
Sent via text. They accepted text messages from us,
That's
posted on the website.
That's just
posted on-
parents, though.
Yes, and then it's also. Yes, where else did I put it? Facebook. Okay, Facebook, our website, and then also, yeah, text message.
So I wonder if we can start a
Newsletter.
database of just community members that maybe their kids are grown and gone, or just people that are wanting to be more involved. I know a dozen that are definitely always interested in what's going on.
And then I had, tribal ed, they kicked it out to any of the, so tribal council and then any of their. They felt was important, because she had her list of contacts.
What about your reader board? I feel like there's something in your reader board. Going through town?
Some report, congratulations.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you did anything, but
Are you gonna close that survey at some time? Or?
So that one's closed, that built what we currently have, and now it's reposted for feedback on it. It's been sent out to everybody, and sadly, I'm about to survey people out because we went 256 on that last survey. We currently have 9 that have commented on the graduate profile that was created since then. It's posted at the
That's
basketball
what the
game.
email was?
Yeah.
I didn't understand the email. I looked.
There's 9 total that are provided feedback. Of the 9 total, 3 students, 2 teachers, 1 school board member, and 3 parents and guardians.
Can
No
you work it
community
into-
members.
Can you work it into the curriculum or something?
Yeah,
Take
so
10
last
minutes
time, yep, so last time, it was forwarded on to teachers to deliver to students. That's probably why we have that 256. So,
I think maybe on it too, really emphasizing, even if you don't see changes, letting us know that you like it might be a way, because when I opened it, it's really reviewing and what comments do you have? And some people may be like, nope, looks great. I don't feel like I need to put a comment. I'm gonna exit out of this instead of submitting something, and just maybe emphasizing that even positive feedback is good, so that we know that you like it.
Yeah.
Or even changing it and doing a couple multiple choice questions, like good, no, but, whatever, might entice people to give you a little bit more feedback.
Move on to athletic director's report. I was actually surprised to see that.
We'll have one from here on.
Yeah.
To that report moving forward that I can take back to the car.
Did you have a question for yours, though, or superintendent, or, so, and Lonnie, Venmo account. How is that working for the school? Like if you have sporting, like coaches and stuff, and they want kids to send them money to purchase something that's gonna be all purchased like Simon. I know it's not like school stuff, but yet that coach is still representing our basketball teams, and then the parents send them Venmo cash to pay for stuff. How is that working?
I don't know anything about it. I don't see the money. It doesn't come to me.
Yes,
We don't
that's
have a
what I
Venmo
don't
account.
like that.
There's no checks
I
and
will
balances.
do.
Okay, I don't like those where people.
Or for clubs, not even just.
For clubs,
athletics.
it is like, or, the one instance where like our fundraising for trips.
Mhm.
They're attaching those personal Venmo accounts on those flyers.
So I can speak to, I don't know if I know the exact one that you're talking about, but I can speak to this. If an individual wanted to go out and fundraise money and then do a donation afterwards to the activities account, they can write Lonnie a check for an activities donation if it is not Arlee Schools that is doing the fundraising.
But a
But it's-
club
it's a
connected
club
to the school
It's
is.
a student
in
activity
gray area.
account.
It should not be on a flyer or a
Correct.
club
That's what I said,
connected.
individual.
Yeah.
not the s- So I follow.
And my,
Assuming you have more information that you can provide.
I can tell you.
and I
Sounds
have,
great.
I also have a question
Yep.
for anything that is putting out for any club, any sporting, anything connected to the school on a social media aspect, should that not be connected to our school Facebook page and being ran through our school Facebook page? So there's a little bit more control over it.
Yes.
Okay.
So you.
More
Email
information.
form you got
Yes.
as well. Sounds great.
Yeah, we're on the same page now, because we're still blacklist off of our visa.
Good to know.
Yeah,
So I'm just thinking, now that we have a school Facebook page, you can create other pages connected to a page. And it all can be controlled under the same one. So moving forward, anything that is related back to the school should be ran underneath that.
good on them. Okay, moving on to the business manager report.
So as part of our stuff that we're trying to do after our lovely little class we all went to, we're gonna try and give you guys information on a quarterly basis now. I started, this is all through December. So you'll see it on a quarterly basis from here on out. We decided to do this because we've got some budget issues and we wanted to make you guys aware of those ahead of time, and just to let you know that in the future, Corey's going to be coming to you with some ideas on how to correct or help fund the district in the future. So we'll start with the high school. As you can see, this is the general funds. So in the high school and the elementary, the main two places that we pay people out of are general funds and the impact aid funds. So general fund in the high school, all 99% are budgeted salaries. So that means your entire general budget is taken up by salaries. This little 8,000 has sat here ever since I've been here, and it pays for the shop's propane. And it's always just been in 201, so I've never changed it. So that's the reason it's not 100%. So if you look at the high school impact aid report, what you're going to want to look at is these revenue at the top. So in the general fund, you know what you're getting. Right at the beginning of the year, your A and B is counted. They give you your money on your A and B, and you know exactly what you're getting. In impact aid, it's a little bit different because the numbers can change as well on our application, but is how it's funded can actually change. And so after looking at the numbers, I went ahead and changed this to go with the 100% lot payment, which is normally what they pay us at and have paid us at for probably 5 years now, 5 or 6 years. With the new administration, they want to downsize the Department of Ed. Everyone knows all about that. Impact aid is paid through the Department of Ed. And so that whole program might get downsized. And so I'm not sure if we will get 100% payment or not. I do know that we will not get the rest. We have received a 50% payment in both the elementary and the high school in our impact aid. We won't receive the rest at either. It'll probably be that final in March. We'll probably be at the 90%. And then if they can get some, because we're under continuing resolution until March, which means there's no new money into impact aid. And so until they can get figured out whether or not they're going to give us a little more money and can pay us at 100%, that'll be after March. So it's all kind of up in the air right now and a little bit iffy. So anyways, in the high school, you can see that you're going to end up with a surplus of about $3,929. I'll let you guys know I have done not one thing with the interlocal fund yet, which means I have not taken any pressure off of the elementary funds yet at all with the high school funds. So this is all prior to that because I'm kind of waiting to see what happens. I can do that JV pretty much anytime I want. So I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens, what we get for revenue, what elementary is going to end up at, where we stand. So in the high school, you can see that you can fund yearly your high school. If you have revenues of 951 and budgeted 947, you're spending what you made. Okay. That's a relatively healthy budget. You want to see more of a surplus. I think Mr. Beckham would like to see more of a surplus. So you've got some budgeting to do in the high school. And then the elementary is where we're having the most of our issues, as you guys know. With the A and B being down, 100% of our salaries out of the general fund all go towards salaries, every single dime. In impact aid, we have to take an additional $642,000 or 719 total for salaries. That's a lot of money outside of the general fund to come out of the impact aid. So it's really, Ann and Corey have been throwing it around for a long time. They talk about it a lot. We all know that it exists. This number seems scary as heck, $863,000, but that is your reality. You've budgeted 1.7 million. That's without, I'd take the construction grant out because that kind of is itself. It's going to spend and get revenue. You know what I mean? You kind of just take that out because you're funding your district on the 1.7. And you're only going to get at the most 878,000. Doesn't work. So we have some serious budget issues in the elementary that we have to address. And so this is one way we can get that information to you, and quarterly. It also shows you how the budget's being spent on the far right, year-to-date budget numbers. But yeah, we just wanted to get that information to you so you guys have it. All budgets are over budgeted, as you know, because you have to budget for personal day payouts. You have to budget for substitutes. You have to budget for all those salaries that you can't anticipate what they're going to be. We do overestimate for fuel and energy costs and things like that. So that's helpful, but it's just every budget has to do that. But clearly we can't make that one.
And when you do that, you're doing an extra, you're padding it 10% or 20%?
Between 5 and 8 usually. Yeah. Seems to be enough to handle the issue. We've never had a 10% overage on something that high. Well, this is the reality of the amazing raises that we gave everyone, which is awesome. You know, COVID hit, it was stressful, economy, everything hit. That's great, but this is the reality of what we did. And now we have to find out a way to deal with it.
I think the important thing to keep in mind, sorry, may I?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the important thing to keep in mind is your elementary budget is 3/4 of your kids
Mm-hmm.
and 3/4 of your staff.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly, what's the right word I'm looking for? Absorbs the most.
So when you give out all those nice raises, it hits the elementary the hardest.
Sure.
So I just want you to know I'm always available at my desk to answer any questions on this kind of stuff. If you're looking at it and you're like, gosh, I'm like, why is that? Just call me. And I'll be able to help. Happy to help.
Anyone have anything out there? A lot.
It's a big number. We're trying to build schools for our children that they can actually be educated in. Yes, it's
Correct.
very stressful.
And so it's,
Yeah.
it's a hard line to cross and then it's hard to guess on numbers of kids and
Mhm.
so I have full faith in our wonderful team.
I'm
And
gonna
hope-
give kudos to Mr. Peckham again, this, just like Ann did. He is the most budget-minded superintendent I've had in my 20 years here. So he is on top of it and he's got ideas and he's constantly.
Anyone have any?
I appreciate that report and
Yeah.
it's very helpful and
Mhm.
it's probably the most clear way to understand the
Simply,
budget, because going through some of the other reports, sometimes you're like, I'm not
that's why we did it, yeah, because we figured if we shortened it up to just by, yeah,
very helpful.
okay.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, moving on to the Arlee Federation of Teachers report.
We don't have anything really to report right now. We're just kind of watching the Montana legislature right now to see what kind of funding changes.
Thank you. Move on to approval of claims payroll and reporting.
All right. I have all kinds of questions.
Nice,
This is like the most I've ever had.
sweet.
One, and this is kind of nitpicky, but again, with our budget and things like that, I'm just trying to grasp the concept of this. Why we are buying a bottle of bleach, one bottle for $15.70. Unless there was more into this.
There probably was.
But having a little bit more detail on stuff like that, just because I know how tight we are. It looks like it was one bottle of bleach bought for $15.70 locally,
Okay.
which I'm all about supporting local businesses. However, it's about 3 times the cost of what we
Gotcha.
get it and why we're even really buying bleach and not having it be like a supply that we had at the beginning when we're buying, cleaning supplies and things like that. So that was the first one.
Sure.
Probably not an answer, but if we could get a little bit more detail just because of how tight we are
Sure.
on things, so we can understand what's going on there.
Yeah, boards in the past have asked for that too, so it's awesome.
Perfect. Let's see. On page 3 and 4, and I don't know if it's 3 and 4, the first one or the second one, it was on the MasterCard. Sorry, I don't know if I screenshotted this correctly to be able to see this right. Primarily, I'm guessing it's a club or a sports thing. There were Talkie chips, volleyball stickers, volleyball lollipop rings, beaded bracelets, Swiffin lip balm, and assorted Halloween candy.
And who was it to? What was the vendor?
I don't have it screenshotted that far up. It's page 3 and 4.
I have the Department of Revenue and yeah, I guess I don't know which one that is.
Keep scrolling.
Okay.
Right. Keep going. It looks like some of them are. It's got to be the second section then for page 3 and 4.
Second section. Okay,
Gosh, there's lots of sections.
yes, there is.
Sorry, I didn't.
That's all
screenshot it
right.
far
Yeah,
enough
that's
up.
okay.
And then I was trying to pair it to accounts in one of the other reports and I just gave up because I was like, I am not gonna find this.
Sometimes when you see things like that, that sounds like a club's purchase.
And
that's
that was
a
my
student
guess on
activity.
it.
Mhm.
Um,
And I usually say reimbursed by SA. That means that the club, the student activity club is reimbursing claims for that purchase.
yeah,
What was your question on? Your question? Account number?
Yeah, I was gonna look and see what the account number was, but I can't find.
226-720-35.
there's a PO number. Would that help get us farther down? So 25573 is the PO. Oh, we're almost there.
255 what?
25573 is the PO number.
Nabisco variety pack, volleyball stickers, volleyball pins, beaded bracelets. Yep, she would have used that out of her volleyball. She gets each program, basketball, volleyball, football, gets $1,000
For just
in their athletic program
Okay.
for them to buy stuff.
As long as it was something like that, I just was like, I'm gonna check on this. I'm not sure what this one is for. And then my next ones are all, I think, kind of same category.
Okay,
They're saying they're getting paid for fiscal year 2023. So there is Missoula Textile Services. And it says rug service for fiscal year of 2023.
is that on the PO wrong?
And I don't know, there's multiple ones on
Okay,
here.
so I
that's-
copy POs over. Good catch.
Okay, so there's the.
That PO would have said that every single month and you finally
So
caught it.
Missoula Textiles is that way.
Mm-hmm.
Republic Services is that way.
Okay,
Um. Then Desk Inc.
okay,
And I think those are the three for fiscal year 2023.
perfect.
And
I'll
then
get it changed to 25.
I have a question on what is syncfusion.com for maintenance tech ticket system?
What?
It is for $100.
It's $100 a month.
I'm
It's
guessing it's
$1,200 a
$100
year. Yeah, it's $1,200 a year.
Think Fusion for maintenance. So when did it go into effect? Probably this last year. We updated our maintenance program so that there's a direct communication between all staff and maintenance departments. So basically, anybody can throw in a maintenance ticket. It's finger on the district updated in real time, so it tracks a log.
Was it
us.
for maintenance or tech?
Just says
Said maintenance.
maintenance tech ticket system is what
Okay.
it is.
That's what it is. So that's, if you go to our website, it's also there if you go to maintenance, but it allows for like Ann and I to track things that are happening. And John Carr and I to be able to track things that are happening around the district in real time. So that if Ann puts in a ticket and says, hey, this light's not working, then some staff comes and does it. And if it's not done, then it flags and Ann can email out, why is this not happening? It's not used anymore for plumbing, because that's a direct phone call to make sure that we're getting that fixed immediately, but it then allows also for you to be able to come back and look and say, what's happening around the district? That way it's logged.
Okay.
That makes sense.
As long as it's, feeling like it's needed and useful, I would just, again, we're pinching pennies. So if there was any way to do it that was maybe not $1,200,
Yep.
but if it's working, that's okay. And then the last question I had is the Pitney Bowes, the lease payments and postage supplies is $1,041.99. I get it. It's us being able to basically do our own postage right
Mhm.
out of the
That's nice.
district office. Is it saving us money than going to the post office? Is it a convenience thing? What is the reason that we're paying for this service?
We have always had a Pitney Bowes machine. We have never gone to the post office all the mail comes to the high school and Jamie takes care of posting it. So I don't, 20 years we've had it. I don't know. Good question.
Can I?
We have lease payments of 400. I think the lease payments went up because we had to get our machine replaced because the machine was like 15 years old. So I think they're around the 600 range. So that's about $2,400 a year on that postage machine.
Red ink that they use, that's not cheap, and you're probably
Yep.
buying original cartridges.
Yep, the ink is not cheap. Mm-hmm.
I'm a
ahead.
teacher.
Mhm.
I fill out a postcard that you like.
Uh-huh.
I don't have stamps. I drop the stamps off at Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I also can't walk to the post office. I'm Wendy, I'm in an office by myself. Ann says, here's 100 report cards, please mail them. Wendy can't walk to the post office because she can't leave the office unattended. What she can do is send it in campus mail to Jamie, who
Mhm.
also can't leave the office unattended, right? Run it through. The lady comes, picks it up, it's gone.
See, and that was my only question. Again, just one other thing I thought was like, is it worth continuing doing? Great.
Yeah, and you go back to checks and balances. Let's say I buy everybody 100 stamps. Guarantee you, somebody's gonna send their power bill with 100 stamps.
There you go.
That's true.
Thank you.
But you have to pay someone, and you have to pay someone to watch the office. Well, right now, somebody's already at the office, you're already paying her, and she's running it through the machine, right? And then the mail lady picks it up. So like, go back to
We
Jamie,
deliver our own mail.
go back to Jamie again.
Yeah.
We'd have to pay Jamie to go down to the post office to stand there, because it's a lot of mail, right? It's a lot of mail. Well, they get it all marked out, weighed, and do whatever they do. Like for me, sometimes I send it to my grandniece and nephew in Spokane. It takes 20 minutes. I'm agitated, right? Multiply that by 200 things.
Every
We're paying
day,
Jamie to do it,
every day.
and we're paying somebody to watch Jamie's office. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just, again, just kind of fine tooth combing, like, what is the service for? What are we paying it for? Is it worth paying for? Phenomenal. If not, maybe that's one area we can pinch on a little bit, but thank
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. That's why I asked the questions. Okay, that's all I had. Sorry, question master of the night.
Okay. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I forgot to get next meeting on there, but let's discuss it before we leave. Everybody's all right? Staying on second Tuesday? It's your birthday.
You got it, I told Dan.
I know.
I did it on his birthday, so I'll do it on mine.
So February
It's
11th?
anniversary.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks, guys.
This is the longest. I know, long. We had.